Some discoveries aren't meant to be documented. Some patterns shouldn't be recognized. But once you see them, I've always been methodical, precise. In 15 years of electromagnetic research, I've never published a finding I couldn't replicate 3 times under controlled conditions. That's why the readings in my study are so troubling. It started 3 weeks ago, or at least, I think it was 3 weeks. I was calibrating my equipment, the same routine I've performed hundreds of times, when the magnetometer spiked. Not a small fluctuation, a massive electromagnetic surge that should have fried every circuit in the room. But everything kept working perfectly. I documented it, naturally. Time, 1432. Duration, 3.7 seconds. Field strength, 847 Gauss. Impossible for a residential area, but the numbers don't lie. Numbers never lie. That's what I tell myself as I flip through my research journal now. The handwriting is mine. I recognize the careful block letters, the way I dot my I's with perfect circles. But I don't remember writing half of these entries. Entry 47. Temporal displacement detected at 3:15. Duration, unknown. Equipment functioning normally despite chronometer malfunction. 1 trend temporal displacement? I would never use such unscientific language. I deal in measurable phenomena, not science fiction concepts. Yet there it is, in my precise handwriting, dated 2 days ago. A day I spent entirely in the university library, nowhere near my home equipment. Fatigue. That's the rational explanation. The tenure review has been weighing on me, and I've been working 18-hour days. It's perfectly reasonable that I'd forget making a few late-night observations. Stress affects memory formation. There are studies, but the handwriting looks different somehow. Still mine, but the pressure is wrong. Too light in some places, like the hand was trembling. Too heavy in others, like someone was pressing desperately hard. Like someone trying to leave a permanent mark. Stop being paranoid, I tell myself. You're a scientist. Stick to observable data. OIMS. The electromagnetic readings are real. Whatever's happening in this room is generating consistent, measurable anomalies. The equipment doesn't lie, even if my memory might be unreliable under stress. I just need to be more careful about my documentation. Set up cameras, maybe. Maintain proper protocols. I adjust the magnetometer and watch the needle dance. Another spike. Smaller this time, but definitely there. I reach for my pen to document it, then freeze. There's already an entry for today's date. In my handwriting, describing this exact reading, down to the decimal point. I haven't written anything yet. The coffee mug is on the wrong side of the desk. Such a small detail, but I always place it to the right of my journal. Always. 15 years of the same routine. Coffee on the right, journal centered, pens lined up on the left by color. Blue for observations, black for calculations, red for anomalies. The red pen is missing. I flip through my journal with increasingly unsteady hands. Page after page of red ink. Entries I don't remember making. Describing experiments I never performed. According to my own notes, I conducted a 47-hour continuous observation session last Tuesday. But I was teaching classes all day Tuesday. I have witnesses. I have a schedule. Entry 73, hour 31 of continuous monitoring part. Subject exhibits temporal displacement every 4.7 hours. Consciousness appears to fragment across multiple time streams. Waita. Rensa. Subject. What subject? I'm studying electromagnetic fields, not whatever this is supposed to mean. And the timestamp shows this entry was written at 2:17 a.m., but the previous entry is timestamped to 4:43 a.m. the same night. Time doesn't move backward. Does it? No, Turtsen. You're being irrational. Think like a scientist. Karen. I grab my phone to verify the time, but the display flickers strangely. The numbers seem to shift when I'm not looking directly at them. 3:42 p.m. becomes 7:15 a.m. becomes 11:33 p.m. I blink hard, and the display stabilizes. 3:42 p.m. My hands are trembling now. Real scientists don't have nervous breakdowns. They gather data. They find logical explanations. They don't question the fundamental nature of time because of a few inconsistent journal entries. I turn to a fresh page and begin writing. A systematic review of anomalous entries, cross-referencing timestamps with calendar and phone records. Oh, okay. But when I look down at the page, the words are different. Still in my handwriting, but not what I intended. Page 847 of documentation. Still, haven't figured out how to break the cycle. Memory fragmenting again. Need to leave clearer warnings. Why now? Day 847? I started this research 3 weeks ago. 21 days. I count on my fingers. Yes, 21. Not 847. That would be over 2 years. My equipment cabinet is open. I always lock it. The electromagnetic scanner is positioned in the corner, pointed directly at the chair where I usually sit. I never put it there. The readings on its display show continuous monitoring for the past 847 hours. That's impossible. That would be 35 days of continuous operation. But I only started this research 3 weeks ago. Didn't I? I find myself standing in front of my bookshelf, though I don't remember walking over here. There's a framed photograph I've never seen before. Me, standing in this exact room, pointing at equations on a whiteboard covered in temporal mathematics. Mathematics I don't understand. Mathematics that make my head ache to look at. The photograph is dated 6 months ago. I have only lived in this apartment for 2 months. The warning sprawls across an entire page in desperate red ink. You are not experiencing time linearly. The electromagnetic field is causing temporal displacement. Your consciousness jumps between fragments. This is the 847th cycle. Remember, Chen. The handwriting is mine. Definitely mine. But I've never seen this page before. Except, I have. The memory surfaces like something dragged up from deep water. I remember writing these words. My hand cramped from pressing so hard with the pen. I was desperate, terrified, trying to leave myself a message that would survive whatever was happening to me. Displacement to where? To when? I think. When? I flip backward through the journal with shaking hands. The entries aren't chronological. They jump wildly. Day 23, day 156, day 3, day 592. Each time, the same pattern. Confusion, investigation, growing terror, then gaps, empty pages. Then it starts again with a different version of me, convinced she's beginning fresh research. But the handwriting changes subtly throughout. Sometimes the letters slant left, sometimes right. Sometimes I misspell words I've known since childhood. Sometimes I use technical terms I don't remember learning. It's like watching someone trying to maintain the same personality across multiple incarnations. Entry 15. Found the journal again. Don't remember the previous entries, but the handwriting matches mine. Starting documentation over. Entry 847. This is it. This is the moment I understand. I can feel the displacement beginning. Need to write faster. Need to explain. The entry cuts off mid-sentence. The ink is smeared, like someone was yanked away from the page mid-word. I look at my hands. There's red ink on my fingers. When did I? The room shifts. Not visually. The furniture stays in place. The walls don't move. But everything feels wrong, like I'm seeing it from a slightly different angle. The shadows fall differently. The air tastes metallic, electric. The electromagnetic scanner is beeping frantically now. The readings are beyond anything the equipment should be able to measure. The field strength is increasing exponentially, and I realize with dawning horror that it's centering on me. I'm not studying the phenomenon. I am the phenomenon. My consciousness isn't linear. It's scattered across. How long? The journal shows gaps spanning months, sometimes years. Fragments of myself, each one thinking they're starting fresh, each one documenting the same impossible readings, each one slowly realizing the truth before being displaced to another fragment of time. How many times have I been here? How many times have I figured this out? One the other. So, with shores. I flipped to the very last entry. Today's date, in increasingly frantic handwriting. You're reading this now. You've figured it out again. In approximately 17 minutes, you'll try to leave. You won't be able to. The displacement will begin, and you'll wake up convinced you're starting new research. This is your 847th time reading these words. Netterwire. Below that, I find a way out. Break the pattern. Remember. Under Temporal. I check my phone. 3:59 p.m. 17 minutes. 16 minutes. I write frantically, trying to leave myself something more than warnings. Instructions. A solution. But my handwriting shifts even as I watch, sometimes my careful block letters, sometimes a desperate scrawl I don't recognize. Different fragments of myself, all trying to communicate across the barriers of displaced time. Listen, I write. You need to destroy the equipment. Unplug everything. The electromagnetic field is what's causing. My hand stops moving. I try to continue, but my fingers won't obey. I look down at what I've written, and the words are different. I tried that 200 times. Equipment repairs itself. Field regenerates from an unknown source. Only way out is to understand why it started. I didn't write that. Or did I? Another fragment, warning me not to waste precious time on solutions already attempted hundreds of times? The room is shifting more frequently now. I catch glimpses of different versions. Sometimes the walls are blue instead of white. Sometimes there's additional equipment I don't recognize. Different fragments of the same space, bleeding through the temporal barriers. 10 minutes. I search frantically through the journal for clues about the origin. Most entries focus on documenting the phenomenon, but scattered throughout are fragments of memory. Working late in university lab. Power surge during storm. Woke up here. How long ago? Why can't I remember? Untouched. That's it. Some kind of temporal accident during my original research, scattering my consciousness across multiple time streams. But why haven't I aged? Why does this room remain constant while my mind jumps between fragments? Unless this isn't real. Unless the room, the journal, even my body are just mental constructs. Projections created by a consciousness, trying to make sense of existing outside linear time. 5 minutes. I can feel it starting, that metallic taste, the sensation of reality becoming unstable. The electromagnetic readings are spiking beyond what any equipment should measure. Wait, wow, there's something else. A pattern I missed. Every entry mentions documentation, but never communication with the outside world. Never attempts to contact colleagues or family. What if others can't see me? What if I've been displaced not just in time, but outside reality entirely? The displacement is beginning. The room dissolves at the edges like a photograph burning. I have seconds. I write one final entry, day 848. Or day 1. If someone else finds this, if this is real and not just fragments of a shattered mind, know that I tried to break the pattern. I tried to remember. I tried to find a way home. But I'm starting to suspect there is no way home. There might not even be a home to return to. 1. The world fades to electromagnetic static. I've always been methodical, precise. In 15 years of electromagnetic research, I've never published a finding I couldn't replicate 3 times under controlled conditions. That's why the readings in my study are so troubling. I reach for my journal to document the strange reading I just observed, then stop. There's already an entry for today, in handwriting that looks almost like mine.